Straight ahead on 12 News, call it the Crystal Cathedral, or how about the Ice Palace? We hear from the Golden Valley Company in charge of building the Vikings' future home. Plus, a showdown vote involving in-home daycare workers. Should they be allowed to unionize? But first, a struggle to break away.
It didn't make me feel good to know that I was with somebody who was harming me.
A domestic violence victim shares her story with the hope of helping others. 12 News starts right now. The recent disappearances of 3 Twin Cities women have drawn attention to the issue of domestic violence.
All of them were involved in troubled relationships. Last year, 18 people were killed in the state as a result of domestic violence. So far this year, 13 people have died. Sonia Goins spoke with a victim who hopes her story will help others.
He was kind of quiet. He was very quiet, but his smile was beautiful, and I was very attracted to his positive spirit.
Roxanne O'Brien says the relationship with her son's father started out loving.
Very thoughtful, very loving.
But things eventually changed.
We got into an argument about him needing some space, and I wasn't hearing that he needed some space, and we started tussling on some steps, and he kind of pushed and let go of me off of the steps.
The violence happened years ago, but Roxanne says she remembers some details like it were yesterday.
Then it turned to the punching, the black eye.
She said at the time, she blamed herself.
And he always felt bad after he did it,
Roxanne says she knew she had to leave when her son was put in harm's way.
I remember we started arguing. I was holding my baby, and he grabbed me and yanked out a big piece of my hair.
She and her son went to a shelter.
It didn't make me feel good to know that I was with somebody who was harming me.
And she got police involved.
They basically told me that there was not much that they could do.
And you're going to do the Miranda piece?
Now cities like Brooklyn Park are putting more resources to help victims of domestic violence.
Victims are oftentimes told not to go to the police, that the police won't help them.
Police and advocates are teaming up to go after offenders. One of their tools is a program called Knock and Talk.
We actually go out to a house of those high-risk cases to make sure that offenders aren't there violating orders, and to make sure that victims don't have questions, that victims are staying safe, and if there's any more evidence to gather in that case, we're able to do that.
We can kind of tailor our approach so that people really feel that we genuinely are caring about them and caring for their safety.
Roxanne says she wishes programs like that existed when she was in trouble. She hopes other women will learn from her experience.
Even if the man does love you, if he's putting his hands on you, he doesn't love himself enough, and he doesn't love you enough to realize that you're a beautiful, loving person and that you are valuable.
Now, Brooklyn Park just added a part-time domestic violence coordinator. In the future, they hope to have a comprehensive family violence unit. Mike and Alex, Brooklyn Park is one of the only departments that has an advocacy group right there in the police department. If people want more information on this story or where to get help, they can log onto our website, 12.tv.
All right, good information. Thank you.
Thanks, Sonia. At the state capitol, the Senate took up a bill that would allow in-home daycare providers to unionize.
Supporters say it will help low-income families. Critics say it does the exact opposite. 12 News reporter Renee Bonneau has more.
Is an unwanted, unnecessary bill.
House and Senate Republicans united Tuesday morning to speak out against a bill that would give child care providers the right to vote to unionize and collectively bargain with the state over child care subsidies.
The money that we allocate to families that are low income and need that extra help, that's designed to actually go for the care of the child. And instead of that money now going towards the care of the child, it's going to be diverted and into union dues. Opponents say many daycare providers don't want to unionize, and some could decide not to accept children who receive state assistance.
In greater Minnesota, a child care provider receives $2.83 an hour.
Backers of the bill say unionizing could mean more money and better training options for child care providers and better service for families.
We have lots of families who are low income and working in low-wage jobs, and they need assistance for their children to have an opportunity to be in a safe, affordable child care program.
The bill would affect about 11,000 child care providers who receive state subsidies. And Mike and Alex, the bill is designed to allow in-home personal care assistants to unionize as well.
All right, Renee, thanks. As one Brooklyn Park resident describes it, the ship has landed.
A lot of comments are pouring in about the new Vikings stadium design, many of them positive. Neil Persley spoke with the company now in charge of building it.
So here's the main entry of the building with the 95-foot tall pivot doors open so you can see clear all the way through the facility.
And with that, the next chapter in the Vikings Stadium future has begun.
So how do you build this? What have you gotten yourself into?
Well, the exciting part really starts with the construction.
Golden Valley-based Mortensen Construction was chosen to undertake the monumental project, which won't just serve as the Vikings' home, but other sporting events as well, including Gopher baseball and possibly a Super Bowl and an NCAA Final Four.
The jobs will be very significant, as you heard tonight, about 7,500 jobs on the job site, involving about 20 different trades.
In addition, hundreds of Minnesota businesses, including minority and women-owned firms, will be involved in the design and the construction.
The construction includes a non-retractable glass roof that is meant to make fans feel like they're outdoors. While the project is quite the undertaking, Mortensen is no stranger to large-scale projects, having recently built Target Field and the TCF Bank Stadium. This one, however, will be the largest of its kind ever in the state.
Mortensen builds nationwide, but there's really nothing that is quite as special as building a major project for our community and our hometown.
In Minneapolis, Neil Persley, 12 News.
In terms of square footage, the new stadium will be nearly twice the size of the Metrodome. Groundbreaking is scheduled for October, with completion of the new stadium scheduled for the summer of 2016.
In Maple Grove, there are plans to build a new school. Ave Maria Academy wants to build a new elementary school at the corner of Bass Lake Road and Jewel Lane. Ave Maria is a private Catholic school serving pre-kindergarten through 8th grade students. The new building would allow the school to double its enrollment from 165 students to about 330. Maple Grove City Council is expected to vote on the project on Monday.
If you live in Brooklyn Park, there's now a little added incentive to fix up the outside of your home. Starting in September, the city will offer matching grants for homeowners who are working to fix up the exterior or landscaping. The grants are between $1,000 and $5,000 and will be awarded to qualifying homeowners with lower or modest incomes. The idea is to get the city's housing stock spruced up.
The housing stock is one of our biggest assets as a community, so we want to continue to encourage residents to invest in their homes, fix them up, make sure that the neighborhoods look great when people drive by so people are proud of where they live.
The money for the fix-up grants comes from federal grant block funds and in partnership with Hennepin County.
Efforts are underway to clean up 2 Golden Valley lakes and a section of Bassett Creek. The biggest project would help keep phosphorus out of Sweeney Lake. Watershed management officials want to improve a nearby pond so it will remove more phosphorus before the water flows into the lake. But all this comes at an estimated cost of $958,000 for all 3 projects. Hennepin County held a hearing on the efforts today. Another is set for Thursday morning at Golden Valley City Hall. Well, coming up, a Brooklyn Park school that uses fitness to improve grades.
We'll show you how the extra exercise is helping out in the classroom. And later in sports, Hopkins and Wayzata tangle for the 2nd time this season in prep softball.
But first, you've survived the 90-degree temps. Hopefully, the rest of the week should be more comfortable.
Physical fitness in elementary school is certainly not a new thing, but one Brooklyn Park school has taken it to a whole new level.
In today's Health Check, Delane Cleveland shows us how one school has adopted a physical fitness model that other schools are trying to implement.
And I like about it that it's climbing wall.
If there's one thing children enjoy,
it's easy to do.
It's showing off what they can do.
I'm not getting tired.
And at Parkbrook Elementary School, some of the students were asked to put their talents on display.
Because it's practice.
Both on the newly installed climbing wall.
We've been able to use this during Phi-Ed, our morning program, our after-school program.
And with good old-fashioned jump ropes.
Obviously, you can tell they love putting on a show and they do a great job.
But this show serves a greater purpose as a group of adult observers take detailed notes.
Well, today we are having an open house for principals, school board members, and others who have helped contribute to the fitness program here at Park Brook.
The fitness program where students are engaged in physical activities before school, after school, and on the weekends.
I would say this is a unique model.
In turn, academic success has improved.
You know, I'd say 5 years ago, this school had a number of suspensions on the AYP list as they were not meeting the annual yearly progress.
School board member Teresa Lunt says she's noticed a change since the school adopted the focus on fitness model.
We have seen improvement at this school in particular, and actually in aggregate with Osseo area schools as a whole. Our graduation rates are increasing. We are seeing success.
Success they attribute to both good teachers and a little exercise.
It's one way that I could help prepare students to be ready to learn.
In Brooklyn Park, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
Focus on Fitness was made possible by several large grants from Allina Healthcare, Twin Cities in Motion, and the NFL's Fuel Up to Play 60 program. Connection between physical fitness and learning.
It makes a difference.
Yeah. Coming up, the much anticipated new home for 400 of Brooklyn Park's newest residents.
But first in sports, the Champlin Park boys lacrosse team is on a roll. John Jacobson has that and more when we come back.
John Jacobson with sports now. A couple of good teams also happen to be rivals, Wayzata and Minnetonka.
And a nice baseball game. Well, crisply played game. Minnetonka comes out on top this time. Wayzata's baseball team had one of its best showings of the season when they beat Minnetonka 6-0 inside the Metrodome. Well, the Trojans and Skippers met up for the second time, this one outside at Minnetonka's Veterans Field. Nice defense here for Tonka. They turned the Mickey Laius bouncer into 4-6-3 double play in the second inning. In the bottom of the second, the grounder by Axel Twenge gets under the glove of the second baseman. Josh Falk beats the throw home. The Skippers take a 2-0 lead. Trailing 4-1, Wayzata gets closer in the fourth. Christian Linhart bounces a hit up the middle to score Matt Blanchard. It's a 4-2 game through 4 innings. Relief pitcher Bjorn Hansen of Minnetonka helps to make sure it stays that way. He gets the foul pop-up in the seventh, calls off the catcher to record the final out of the game, and Minnetonka wins 4-2. The Providence Academy baseball team has played a lot of close games this spring, with many of them decided by one run. And that held true Monday. Lions playing at St. Anthony. St. Anthony's Zach Ziegel-Cow lines it right over first base for a hit in the first inning. The campus scores 1-0 Huskies. In the second, Nick Bolke slashes a hit to center field for Providence. Michael Cassette comes in to score, and the Lions even it up. St. Anthony retakes the lead. The pitch gets away with runners at the corners. No slide at home, but he's safe anyway here, and it's 2-1 Huskies. They get another on an error to lead 3-1. The Lions, though, score 3 runs in the seventh, and they rally for a 5-4 win over St. Anthony. Lake Conference softball teams paired their conference schedules from 3 meetings to 2 with each team because of the late spring. Wayzata won a thrill over Hopkins in their first meeting. Round 2 was Monday at Hopkins, and the Royals break out early. Lauren Fagler drives it to the fence in left center. Sally Guthrie scores for a 1-0 lead. Addie Thielen caps a big first inning with a line drive homer to the opposite field and right. It's a 2-run shot that makes it 4-0 Hopkins after 1 inning. In the second, Guthrie lines a single up the middle, and Hannah Kleist races around to score from second base. Hopkins hits well the first 2 innings, and they lead it 5-0. In the fifth, Josie Reese drops a hit over third base and just fair down the line. Natalie Den Hartog scores, and Hopkins stretches the lead to 6-1. Wayzata gets some offense going in the sixth. Reagan Williams smashes a liner over a leaping center fielder, Maddie Bellato. Steph Kirk scores, and the Trojans get on the board. But as a pitcher, Fagler has a good day. She holds Wayzata to that 1 run, and Hopkins wins 6-1. In boys lacrosse, Champlin Park is having a very good spring, with their only loss coming by 1 goal to Northwest Suburban Conference leader Blaine. Rebels were at home to take on Centennial Monday night in a tight game in the first quarter, but Champlin Park turns it on in the second. Luke Dahlman rifles home the shot. The Rebels lead 6-2 at halftime. Third quarter, Dylan Celine makes a run to the middle and fires it in for a goal. Ryan McNeil sets up Justin Linderholm for the quick shot and goal, and a 10-2 Rebels lead. And then Bryce Plunkett blows by the Cougars defense and scores another Champlin Park goal. Rebels roll to victory 15-3. They are now 7-1. Champlin Park High School football and baseball playing senior Bryce Marquardt is one of the leading hitters in the metro area this spring, hitting .524 for the 11-2 Rebels. We featured Bryce on this week's Sports Jam show on Channel 12. Here's a clip from that story.
Just being able to come out and help our team lead off the order and just give us a good start to each game has kind of been key.
He's the kind of kid that pressure doesn't bother him at all. I mean, he enjoys it, and he's a clutch player, and he leads by example and is a leader on this team.
On the football field, Bryce was Champlin Park's leading receiver as a senior, catching 44 passes for 712 yards and 9 touchdowns. Watch the rest of Bryce's story and more on this week's Sports Jam show. It's on through Wednesday at 3:38 and 10:30 p.m. here on Channel 12. Highlights from Lake Conference Track and Field coming up Wednesday starting at 4.
All right. Thanks a lot, John.
Thank you, John. Still ahead, the best place to call home on a warm day like this one.
We go fishing for answers up next.
And finally, now that summer-like weather has finally arrived, we're bound to see more people fishing.
Kids and families in Brooklyn Park now have a new place to drop a line.
First fish into the lake.
The DNR released 400 sunfish into Brooklyn Park's new fishing pond. It's designed to engage at-risk youth by giving area kids and families a nearby place where they can go fishing. The city's streets and maintenance crews did a lion's share of the work to get the man-made pond ready outside the Community Activity Center.
It's our whole city campus property here. We want to see kids out here and enjoying this pond and having healthy activities to keep them busy, because we think if we engage kids in these activities, it keeps them from being in trouble and finding bad things to do.
Thanks to grants, a fishing pier and deck and also trail around the pond will be built at the site. The grand opening for the fishing pond will be on June 26th during the Cops and Kids fishing event. And they've got a variety of different sunfish in there, bluegill and pumpkin seed sunfish, all different varieties of sunfish.
Looks really good. We should have a before and after picture of that pond.
It looks beautiful out there right now.
Much better than it used to, yeah.
That does it for us. Thanks for joining us.
Community Corner is coming up next. We'll see you tomorrow.